So hi everyone, Dan, thanks for having us here. Cloze is, think of it like a noise canceling inbox for email and social. How many of you here get more than 100 emails a day? That's bad. A few. You are our target audience, by the way. So it's not because you get so many emails, it's because people who get that many emails have a lot of relationships with a lot of people. And those people are important to you. So, and let me ask another question to the audience before you all fall asleep later in my presentation. If there was a tweet from the single most important person to you and an email from somebody you don't care about at the same time, which do you want to see first? The email? So anyone who's not listening says they want to see the email. The reality is most people go to their email first, regardless of how important that stuff is. And what we've tried to do with Cloze is really rethink the problem about how do you relate and communicate with people. Because it's not about Twitter or LinkedIn or Facebook or email, it's about people when you communicate. So with Cloze, what we do is when you connect email, your social feeds. The first thing we do is we go and analyze the history of everyone you've ever talked with. So we figure out who are your most important relationships now and in the past to find those key people for you. And we do that, and we use that to filter all of your inbound information, all of your email, all your social, so you get just the most important people, the feeds, the tweets, the posts on Facebook from the people that are most important to you right now. You don't have to go hunting for them. You don't have to go looking other places. So Cloze is really filtering for the information that's most important to you. And I'm going to walk you through how we do that and what we do here, and then maybe at the end talk a bit more about the business and the technology behind Cloze as well. So what you see up here is the way that Cloze has already taken all of the feeds and broken them up for us. So we've taken all of the emails and tweets from the key people to me. This is actually my real data, so there's parts I'm not going to go into here. But key people, this is all the emails, tweets, and so on from people that are important to me. So my co-founder, Alex, you can see him there. We've got an email from him and then 4 tweets. So what we've done here is we're grouping things together by people. Again, not worrying about where are people talking, but who's most important. Alex is, as a my co-founder, is actually pretty important. And so that's sort of a quick, I'm going to go back here in a moment. Let's take a look at some of these here. So, I've got the email. This was actually about the event today. But I could go and take a look at one of the tweets Alex did at the inbound presentation. And if I wasn't so interested in this, I can just get rid of that from my feed. This one here, this is an email or a tweet about Ariana Huffington. I may want to retweet that. So I'll retweet that. But more importantly, one of the typical things that you often do when you're building relationships with people, even if they tweet something, that's often just a reason to reconnect with them. So I might actually want to email him privately about that instead of doing a public discussion around something he says. I'm going to switch channels, switch to a more private conversation. You can do that with anyone, because Cloze is tying together all of your different ways you talk with people here. And similarly, I could go and reply to his emails and whatnot. If I didn't want to see anything else from Alex, I can just slide him over and get rid of him out of my feed. So I've seen everything from him, but I'll put him back. And so it's a quick view into the ways that you can use Cloze here. When you're going through, if you've got 5 minutes between meetings or 5 minutes while I'm talking and I'm making interesting discussions here, sorry, fully out on that. One of the things is you want to be able to go through very fast and get through important things. Cloze also has the ability to mark things for later, so if you don't have time right now to get to something, you can actually mark it off and say, I want to save this message, this tweet, or this email for later, put it in a bucket to the side where you can use it at a later date. Or reply on any of the different channels. The other side to Cloze that I'll talk a bit about is other ways that Cloze finds information that's important to you, relevant and useful to you. Because we have a view into all of everyone you're talking with, one of the things we can do is pull out people you're losing touch with, or people that have changed jobs or had children recently. We're pulling those out from all your feeds to get things that may be reasons for you to reconnect with someone you haven't talked with in a while. So Cloze is able to take what is all all of the thousands of messages a day and pull out things that are actually meaningful, relevant to you, so that you can actually get to just the important people when you've got 5 minutes or 10 minutes between meetings. And with that, I'm getting waved off. So I think we've got a couple of minutes for questions now. Questions? Sorry? Questions, folks? Test. So the question is, are we iPad only? We're iPad, iPhone, and we have a beta of a web app of this as well. The actual app is HTML5, so even though you saw all the fancy animations and stuff, it's all HTML5, so it's easy for us to go between platforms. So are messages caught in it like they're caught in a spam filter? Well, you're going to have spam filters anyways. But what we're doing is taking the next level up and sort of breaking that into different chunks. So here's the messages from the most important people. Here's the next tier of people down. Here's things that aren't from people at all. So bulk mail is things that aren't from people at all. Other mail are people who aren't in the top tier for you. So everything's here, but we've just broken it down into the importance of those people to you.
How far into the content are you going? So, for example, the life event, are you looking for keywords like someone mentions birth, death, marriage, or are you doing more complex analysis, or not analyzing at all?
Well, right now on the life events, we're actually using feeds from other systems to give us that. So Facebook, for example, actually has a notion of life events, so we're taking advantage of those things. The analytics behind finding key people has a lot of different factors, though, for that. So we look at things like how frequently do you talk, how quickly do people respond to one another, do you talking privately to one another, do you always CC 50 people? We look at a lot of factors to figure out who's important.
What email platforms are you running on, and does this basically take the place of using the Gmail app or Outlook and build on top of that?
So we hook to the email backends. So we support Exchange, Gmail, IMAP backends. So it can be a full front end, but a lot of people will continue to use their typical desktop clients and use Cloze for when you got the 5 minutes. It's almost, you can think of it almost using it like a catch-up tool. What are the 5 most important things I need to look at right now? Or when you wake up in the morning, all the stuff that happened overnight, what's the stuff I want to get to right now, like important things. When you get to your desk and you have more time, that may be when you just go through your typical traditional email triage and a regular email client on the desktop. Cloze supports as many email accounts as you want. We can even import PSD files, so you can have archives of old messages so that they have useful information in them or history around people that talk about in the past. Yes, so you can give Cloze what you feel comfortable giving him. Privacy and email privacy in particular is a big hot topic, shall we say, with we turn off the NSA's mics here. So we encrypt everything on our servers. Even our employees can't get at people's data. But at some level or another, if there's a benefit to you of actually getting a filtering of information, you can give access to those sources. But we actually typically find the way users use it, they'll hook up one email account just to feel out what it does. Is it going to spam their contacts, which we obviously don't do, those kind of things. But people try that out and then they'll start adding more and more accounts afterwards. It's a typical adoption.
I'm curious about how the program determines who's important and not important. For example, it sounded like it was based on history. Like if you've been talking to someone for a long time, what should I do? If you've been talking to someone for a long time, then they're more important. But I can think of certain situations when the opposite is true. Like if you're job hunting, for example, and you're trying to the the manager that I'm trying to talk to at this new company is a lot more important than my mom in that moment.
Right. So asking about the filtering algorithm. So you can, first of all, you can bucket people into different buckets. So you have your personal separate from your work-oriented ones. But the way the algorithm works, in the first level, think of it like a short-term relationship and a long-term relationship curve. So there's the short-term relationship curve builds very fast but drops off fast. But if you've been working with people for a long, long time, that relationship curve takes longer to build but dies off more slowly. So we mix those two together. In the end, no algorithm will ever be able to be perfect. So you can actually choose to selectively add people as more important to change their importance level in the stock curve. Great. Thanks, everyone.
All right, thank you, Alex.
Join Boston New Technology Meetup. Sponsor an event or venue. Present your idea and attend to network with Boston's brightest. Details are at www.bostonnewtech.org and in the video description.